Okay, so some of you might have a question about where to place direct and indirect objects and, really reflexive objects as well. So that would be the me, te, se, nos, os. Okay, so some of you might have a question about where to place direct object pronouns, indirect object pronouns, and even reflexive object pronouns that go on verbs like levantarse. So that would be the mete stay, nos os say. So we'll talk about that. We'll take a look at a mnemonic device that might help you handle that a little bit better. So it is called NC Pig. So NC, then right in the middle we have a verb PIG, and we'll explain what that means. So this depends on what type of verb we have in the sentence. And those verbs are a negative verb, a negative command, a conjugated verb. If it is either of those two, the pronoun is going to go before the verb. So here's the verb right here. If we have a negative command or a conjugated verb, we're going to put the pronoun before those verbs. If we have a positive command, an infinitive, or a gerund, we're going to place the pronoun after the verb. So let's take a look. We'll see a few examples here. With the negative command, we could say, no me hable, por favor. So don't speak to me, please. Now note, here's our command form. It's negative, and the may goes before the verb, the negative command verb. So before it. Remember, NC goes before the verb. The next one, conjugated verb. So there's a ton of examples, but we could say something like, te quiero ayudar. I want to help you. Here's our conjugated verb. It's just a normal conjugated verb. It's not a command. It's not an infinitive. It's not a gerund. It's just a simple conjugated verb. In that case, we put the pronoun before it. Now, the rest of these, we're going to put the pronoun after. Before we get to those, now note, as we put it before, those are two separate words. But now that we're putting the pronoun after, it's going to be attached to the word. So a positive command. Ayúdeme. So help me. Now note, we tacked the pronoun onto the end of the command form. And we threw this accent on here because originally, before we added the may, the stress was already on the U. Remember, any word that ends in an N, an S, or a vowel naturally has a second to last syllable stressed. Since we're breaking that rule, we want the stress back where it originally was. We added a new syllable. We have to write that accent there. So, ayúdeme, help me, and that pronoun goes to the end, tack it on, of a positive command. Same thing with an infinitive. Now remember, an infinitive is an unconjugated verb. It's in its original form. So here's an example. Quiero ayudarte. So I want to help you. Now again, we tack it onto the end. The reason we didn't add an accent here is because the stress in ayudar is on the AR. By adding a syllable that ends in an E, that automatically puts the stress on the second to last syllable. We're good. We don't need a written accent. So quiero ayudarte, tack it onto the end. Remember, all of these come after the verb. I should note that we have the same sentence right here. Te quiero ayudar with the conjugated verb or quiero ayudarte. It's the same sentence. I have just chosen to put the pronoun in a different place. I chose to put it after the unconjugated verb, the infinitive, rather than before the conjugated verb. They are completely interchangeable. You can put it in either place and it means the same thing. So before the conjugated verb or after the infinitive. And the last example we have here is a gerund. Estoy ayudándote. So estoy ayudándote, I am helping you. I'm putting it at the end of the gerund, tacking it on again, and I have to put an accent here because, again, this is where it originally was, but by adding a syllable, that forces this natural stress to come here on the O. And I don't want it on the O. I want to put it back on the ayudándote. And that's how we do it. Just on the PIG, we tack it onto the end of the word. Now, again, I want to point out that I could have chosen to put it before the conjugated verb estoy. I could have said, te estoy ayudando. Again, it is completely interchangeable. Te estoy ayudando means the same thing as estoy ayudándote. And that is how you determine where to put the pronouns, whether it be a direct object pronoun, an indirect object pronoun, or the pronoun that you use with reflexive verbs. And we've seen those already, reflexive verbs. So for instance, me levanto muy temprano. I get up very early. I could change it. I could use an infinitive and say, voy a levantarme muy temprano. And that me would go after in that case. Voy a levantarme muy temprano. That's how you do it. If you have any questions, please let me know.